We are on day number 3 of the Sweet 16, and the pretenders and contenders they're starting to distinguish themselves quite a bit. So let's catch up where we're at with the scores, talk about what we could see next, and we'll do a little bit of training at the end. Let's go. So big time numbers and then some disappointing numbers yesterday from a couple of these vans. So Rochester continues to lengthen their lead. They are the third highest scoring van of the Sweet 16 so far. They've done 15 and 11 in back-to-back days. They are up by 19 on Joe in Portland Van 5. Ryan is up there for the top overall individual canvasser as well. We'll see that in a second. And that van is number 2 for the month. So Rochester is on a roll right now. But you're going to have a hard time knocking them off. I don't think they've been below 10 leads since the Sweet 16 started. It's always great. My light always turns off while I'm in the middle of filming this too. So Colorado Springs and Bozeman, not exactly the slobber knocker you expect to see in the Sweet 16. Both of these vans are just stumbling out the gate, but lucky for them, their competition stumbling too. So they are both in this with just 9 leads and could still advance to the Elite Eight. So massive opportunity for both Colorado Springs and Colorado Springs 1 and Bozeman to get into the Elite Eight. But if they do advance, they're probably going to have to take on Rochester. So I hope they start to produce a little bit more consistently than we are right now. Eugene 2, Brandon just keeps rolling. He's got 19 leads. He's taken on Austin, Texas, and Brendan. And Austin is consistent, but not getting up to where they need to be able to compete right now. So Eugene 2 looks to have a distinct advantage, but maybe Austin can pop off. We'll see. Reading has been by far the most consistent van of the last couple of weeks in this competition. They've done 17 the last 2 days. They're sitting at 37 with their 3 bonus leads, and they are just smoking Tri-Cities 2 right now. So they are up by 27 with 3 days to go in the competition. Dropping down to, it was a weird day yesterday, right? So we had a big number overall as a group, but then you had some of these stalwarts. Tucson with only 5 leads, Tri-Cities 1 only 2 leads. Alex, where you at? Haven't heard you in the chats all week, man. You were really busy last week in there, but I haven't really heard from you this week. I wonder why that is. Eugene 1, Jake, just crushing it. Very consistent van as well. They are peaking at the right time of the year. They're at 30 leads. Spokane 2, I mean, came back big time to stay in this thing last night. Eugene 1 was just destroying them at the beginning of the day, and Spokane 2 just kept clawing back into it. By the end of the night, they had tied it back up at 15 yesterday, but they got some work to do to get ahead of them. But if anybody could do it, it's Tyler Spokane 2. Vegas bounced back day yesterday. They got 8 on the board, but Bremerton stayed ahead and extended their lead. They're now up 20-9. And then the final competition, Oklahoma City, also proving to be one of our top class vans right now. With 16 yesterday, putting them at 28 for the week, over top of Spokane 3 by 13 leads. So right now you're seeing a kind of a couple of vans start to separate themselves. You got Rochester at 29 leads, Reading at 37, Eugene 1 at 30, Oklahoma City at 28. There's no way I can count out Tucson at 23, but it's looking like we have a clear class of vans right now that are starting to pull away. It's still anybody's game. Every van out here that's still in the Sweet 16 has the capability of popping off for a 20, a 25, or dare I say a 30 plus day. I've seen it from some of these drivers before. So you can still pull back into it. Figure out what you need to do, give that right pep talk, and get your van motivated and get them to put up a big number today and get you back into this thing. All right. Moving on, let's look at the monthly competition. So you got Tucson 1 with a big lead still over top of second place Rochester. Tri-Cities 1, Oklahoma City, Reading, Spokane 2, Eugene 1, Spokane 3, Bozeman, Eugene 2, St. George, and Vancouver 2 round out the rest of them. So really good start to the month for some of these vans. A lot of you pacing for 100 plus this month. Let's make sure that we finish the month just as strong as we've started it. We want to get 9,000 leads this month. That would be crazy. We're going to skip right over 8,000s and go right to 9,000s. That's what we're trying to do for this month. So let's look at the top individuals. Derek Steele down in Tucson, still with a massive, massive lead over second place. He's sitting at 51 issued leads. Second place sitting at 33 for Allen. I believe Allen's out of Rochester. And then you got Ryan out of Rochester also sitting there at 29. You got another driver, Kyle, just above Ryan at 30 there. So some really interesting names. Tony in Westboro. We need to get some hiring going in some of these vans, and these guys are going to really explode because they know how to do it the right way. And then some of our stalwart names that you're going to often see on top of this list. You got Nama, you got Orion, you got William. You've got a bunch of guys in here that are Gabe, that are just proven, tried and true veterans that are going to end up climbing their way further up this list as the month goes. So, new folks, get going. You don't have time. Your lead is not safe. I promise you. These guys are hunting you down. And finally, I want to do a little bit of a training here because we've lost the consistency this week. We go up and down and up and down. Individual vans are going up and down. And what I'm trying to prove to you through the month of March is this statement that is on the screen. You are what you repeatedly do. And I want to tell a little story here. So I grew up in the middle of Ohio, Northeast Ohio, and I grew up about 25 minutes away from a pretty good basketball player. You might know who he is. I was a senior. He was a freshman. And he played my high school basketball team. I was a wrestler. Our wrestling team was really, really good. Our basketball team was not very, very good. They played him in the very first round of the state tournament. And this freshman dunked like 10 times on my best friend, and I never let him hear the end of it that whole year. That same freshman turned to a sophomore, junior, senior, cover of Sports Illustrated, NBA Rookie of the Year, multiple-time MVP, LeBron James. And one thing that I love the dude, respect the hell out of the guy. But the one thing I respect the most is he's currently, as of today, played 1,478 career games, right? All-time leading scorer, all these accolades. And he's like an 18-time All-Star, right? There's crazy stats. Do you know how many times he has scored less than 10 points in a game? 1,478 games. And he scored less than 10 points just 8 times. That is 0.5%. Apply that to you as a canvas manager. And before anybody says anything, Jordan scored less than 10, 20 times. So save it. But apply that to yourself as a canvas manager. What is your standard? Are you excellent? Are you elite? Are you going to hold that standard 99.5% of the time? Or do you allow the standard to flex with your mood, with your energy, with your team's mood, with your team's energy, with outside sources, with outside forces, right? Or do you hold consistent? Do you score your 10 points or more 1,470 out of 1,478 times? Are you Michael Jordan? Are you LeBron James? Are you one of the greats? Are you a guy who's in the G League who's going to flush out really quickly? Nobody will ever remember. You are what you repeatedly do. You are what you put on paper. Every day, every stat is your name behind it. And if you take that level of ownership and if you look at standards in that way, you're going to get one heck of a performance out of your team. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate everything that you guys are doing so far in March. Let's finish strong. The ultimate goal of this is to get everybody as paid as we possibly can. Let's go.